Hey, it's Captain Mike over at fishyourassoff.com, and today what we're talking about is power fishing versus finesse fishing, and they both have their places when you're inshore fishing. And when I'm inshore fishing, I'm looking for snook, tarpon, redfish, trout, and flounder. I'm an inshore fishing guide here on the Treasure Coast of Florida, and I make these informational videos to help you catch more fish. So let's talk about power fishing. That's basically what I do all the time. Unless, I would say in the winter months, sometimes you really got to do a lot of finesse fishing just because the fish will not react to the power fishing techniques. They won't. They need a subtle presentation, and they usually need smaller baits, and you need to move everything a lot more slowly. That's your finesse presentation. But when you're power fishing, I'm just going to tell you how my mind works. I've been doing this for 40 years now, fishing the flats all around Florida. So when I look at a body of water, say I'm in some sort of little bay or something area, a shallow grass flat bay area, I look at the whole thing when I'm power fishing as a grid. And within that grid, like a piece of graph paper, I see squares. And what I want to do is, let's say that each square is 6 or 7 square feet. I want to make sure that my lure gets in each one of those squares. I'm just going to fan cast and keep going, keep moving as long as I can till I figure out where the fish are. Because when you're inshore fishing, that 80-20 rule always applies, it seems like, in life. So 20% of the water is going to have 80% of the fish in it. So you really need to find those fish that are chewing. There might be fish in one spot. You might have, you're looking at your nice little hummingbird or whatever. You're like, man, there's fish everywhere. Why aren't they biting? I've thrown everything in my tackle box to them. Well, sure, there might be fish there. You need to find feeding fish. You need to find the fish that are hungry. And finding the feeding fish is what power fishing is all about. All right? So you just want to cover water. Last thing you want to do is like, ooh, look at that perfect little point there with the tide going around it. I'm going to fish there all day. Well, that's dumb. That's not the way to do it. You go, you pitch a few things at it, nothing's biting, you keep moving. And there's a lot of different variables that you need to have to find these feeding fish. You're a fish, you're a snook. Well, you certainly don't want to be somewhere where there's a lot of dolphins or sharks that are going to eat you. So you're going to be in a place that doesn't have predators. You want to eat, so you're probably going to be in a place where there's some baits or some prey items for them, or at least a good ambush spot where it's constantly moving prey items by them. You're going to want a certain water temperature. You're going to want to be comfortable. They're just like us. It's hot, you want AC. When it's cold, you want something warm. So they're the same way. So you want a certain water temperature. You also want a certain tide. You might not want, the fish might not want a really strong tide whizzing by. They might be looking for just a lighter tide. Very rarely are they ever going to be with no tide. So you want some tidal movement, not too little, not too much. So you want some tidal movement too. So when you really just start putting all these different factors together, are these fish getting targeted? Are there a lot of other boats around? That's the thing about when you're like me, and most of 90% of the time I'm fishing, I'm in 6 feet of water or less. I got this perfect grass flat, and then some Yahoo in his flats boat shoots across it doing 50 miles an hour. Well, that's going to shut that grass flat down. You might as well move. That 100 yards on either side of it, that pisses me off. But anyways, that's a different thing. So you got to worry about that too when you're seeking out these fish. So power fishermen versus finesse fishermen. Power fishermen, you're just covering water. Once you start catching predatory fish, not catfish or something like that, once you start catching predatory fish, put down your anchor, put down your power pole, whatever it is, fish that area and see if you can target the species that you're looking for. That's really how to do it. I think one of the best search baits for catching lots of fish is a white gulp, because they smell too. You know, they're not just white, and they're small, so you can catch all kinds of fish. You can catch big ones, little ones, everything on that. If you just want to catch fish, that's a great search bait to have. If you're not going to go with something scented, you know, just go with a paddle tail. That's a 3.75 inch paddle tail, white paddle tail with gold and silver in there. Great power fishing bait. Great power fishing bait. Just getting out there with your eighth ounce jig head or 3/16, depending on water depth and things like that. That's what you do. That's what you do. That's how you power fish. The finesse part of it is usually crystal clear water, heavy pressured area, or it's winter, something like that. That's when your finesse techniques are going to go. You can't fish fast. You got to hope that there's fish in these spots and really work your bait slow and do it like that. That's really going to be the way that you have to do it when you're finesse fishing. So there's time and place for both, but usually you're going to be power fishing, and that's what you want to use when you're out there doing that. Is just a great search bait, something to cast far. You work it back fast so you can cover a lot of water, hit each quadrant, and move on. Just keep moving until you start finding fish. So I hope that helps, and thanks for watching, and until next time, we'll see you then. All right, bye-bye.